meeting to order at 6 o'clock, and we'll all rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mayor Butler is here. Deputy Commissioner
Carrie?
Trethewey. I was going to get to it. Deputy Commissioner Trethewey is here. Commissioner Martin.
Here.
Commissioner Scambatti. Here. Commissioner Gaetano.
Here.
I'd like someone to move the minutes of the previous July 9th meeting, please.
I will accept them.
And I'd like to second.
I'll second.
Tamara seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Now I'd like to have the minutes of the special meeting from July 21st moved. Who'd like to move it?
I'll move. I'll second.
And seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Invite me in. Is that?
No.
Yeah, you have to.
Abstain?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, Pat abstained. Move on to mayor's reports. Commissioner and mayor's reports. September 11th, the Elks and Mechanicville Fire Department are going to have their September 11th ceremony down on Main Street at the firehouse. It's going to be at 5:30. It's kind of a early time, but it's going to be 5:30 and it'll be at Main Street. And I just wanted to congratulate Sleep in Heavenly Peace. Last Saturday, they made over 40 beds for the community. There were 4 area churches that got together and they used Talmadge Park, and they were able to put together 40 beds. Plus, I didn't get a number on the bedding, but they had over 50 sets of bedding donated. So they basically, I thought they did a pretty nice job. It was a warm day in there in the park, but I think they said there was 75 volunteers there for the day. So it was a wonderful turnout by the community. I just want to congratulate them. That's all I have. Commissioner Blodgett.
Nothing.
I'm sorry.
Nothing right now.
Deputy Commissioner Trethewey.
Cheryl's on vacation, and she said that she will give the report for July in September's meeting.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Martin.
As you can see, we have the typical treasurer's report and the payroll resolution in there. I do want to ask for clarification on one point of order as far as processes go. I had submitted a resolution in a timely fashion to meet all deadlines, but it was not included on the agenda. And I would just like to understand better why, since we have the benefit of counsel here today, perhaps it's a procedural thing, why something could be excluded.
Well, I felt that commission was set up by the mayor's office, and it was under the mayor's purview, such as the ethics committee and some of the other committees there in Mechanicville. And I feel that the group spent almost 2 years doing their work, and I feel I've talked to a majority of them and they would like to continue on with doing it, and I feel they deserve that right. And I've asked Lynn for some, that's my opinion, and Lynn can give you the legal opinion now.
The way the original resolution was created, it's all at the mayor's purview, but I don't want to say more importantly, section 36 of the municipal home rule specifically states that the commission is established and maintained by the mayor. So it's the state law that says it's his. There are 4 different ways that you can review your charter, but this city council went with the charter commission established by the mayor, so it's his.
Okay, so
It was actually a courtesy to put the people in front of the city council to have it voted on, because he can just appoint them.
Okay, that was my misunderstanding. I didn't realize it was a courtesy. And I'm just shocked that the council doesn't have more input.
Well, you do at the end because you vote, and last time you voted no, and so you had the ultimate authority. But this came up when the people were first appointed because there were some questions. Oh, there she is. Kim was asking why you didn't interview, why you didn't do things like that, and because he doesn't have to. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm just saying by law, he doesn't have to do that.
Okay. Are there other committees that Mechanicville has that are subject to such unilateral authority?
Yeah, your charter, this one is by town law, but your charter has, that the mayor has general oversight of all departments, boards, and commissions of the city.
So only the mayor can create or disband a committee?
A commission, yes.
But what about a committee?
Well, this is a commission, so it's a different animal.
Okay, yeah, but I just want to, I'm just trying to get a
I
feel
have
for
to
the
research
the
that
procedure
to
on
know.
that. Okay, because I was shocked that nobody had approached me in advance to that. I didn't find out until the agenda was published, so I just...
didn't know that you had submitted that resolution.
Yeah.
So I was shocked too, because none of us had any warning that that was going to be tried.
Oh, I had discussed with several commissioners,
Okay, but
just because...
If you had asked me legally, I could have staved off all the...
Okay, I was just misled by the fact that the commission approved the the council approved the appointments originally.
And again,
So-
that was a courtesy,
Okay,
try to
so-
keep everything open and whatever. But it is right
Okay.
in the municipal home law. There are different ways that you can alter your charter that don't involve mayor's commission like that. But that's what they did in this case.
Yeah, had the charter committee done their job and actually reviewed the charter, then perhaps those shortcomings would have been addressed. So thank you for your clarification, and I will be more inclined to consult you in advance on these things because apparently I don't know all the rules yet.
Well, it's hard. I've been doing it 27 years. I don't know all the rules yet.
No,
So.
thank you, that's very kind. So that was my big concern, and I'm happy to have that addressed. As many of you know, my concern with the Charter Commission is that it wasn't reflective of the population of Mechanicville. So, but that being said, the reports, we are still earning quite a bit of interest on our NICLAS accounts. I've been attempting to get in touch with the IRS to resolve that issue, but as many of you know, trying to get a hold of somebody at the IRS is very difficult. They did send me a letter saying that our actual fine for not paying the taxes has been, part of it has been eliminated, so it's down to about $50,000 now. But until I pay the bill and get that off the books, I don't 100% want to believe that it's true. I'd like to have things finalized. Even though I do have it in writing from the IRS, they can send out some conflicting information at times. And that's about all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Scambatti.
All right, since last month, we only had one service line water break on 8th and Chestnut. It went pretty good. I mean, we were able to shut the service line off at the main. And it was hot out that day, so I want to thank everybody at work that stayed and tackled the job. Just be advised, we'll be tackling the water valve issue on Canal and Mabott Street next week. Just be aware that we might have to shut down that road for a little while, depending on what we get into and what we find down there. So we'll have signs up and everything. And I'm not really sure what, I think everybody located everything over there. So hopefully Monday or Tuesday we'll be trying to tackle that job. The city in the future, excuse me. Since I'm only here for the, the rest of the year, the city in the future, just want to let you guys know that, you might want to try to install cameras down at the docks. We've been having some problems with, I don't know if it's kids or boaters or something, vandalizing the sewer pump that they have down there for the boaters. So I don't know, if, in the future, it might be nice to have a camera down at the end of the docks down there. We're also advertising for skilled labor. Go to the website and you can find everything there, or you can stop up at DPW, and right when you walk in on the right near the civil service room is applications. I believe, what did we put down? August 20. I forgot what the date. It's on the website. I'm sorry. I think it was like August 27th is the deadline for the skilled labor position. Other than that, we're trying to get the street sweeper out when we can, due to some of my manpower issues. It's been out this week, so have patience with that. So from Biolab West on 67, we had a bad sewer clog. I might be sending a notice out to residents on that side. I mean, there was a chunk of grease that had to be that big and that thick that was really wedged in there. I don't know if it was grease, and soap scum almost looks like grease too when it builds up. So again, just be aware of what you flush down your toilets or your sinks or whatever, because we were over there for a while jetting that line. We got it, but other than that, that's all right. August 20th is for the end of the skilled labor applications. And that's all I have.
Commissioner Gaetano.
Our recreational park program started in July and it will be ending on August 29th. It's been a very successful program and it's been running from Monday through Friday at our Park Avenue playground. Our recreational leader and 3 assistants have provided a fun summer for everyone, and they've done a great job. On July 17th, we were here at the Senior Center, and we were able to fill 2 dumpsters and clean out the Senior Center to organize a craft and knitting room. Thank you to all involved in this extensive cleanup. The Park Commission meeting was held on July 23rd, and our attendance has doubled since day one. It's been very exciting, and our next meeting is Wednesday, August 27th at 6 p.m. There will be a blood pressure clinic on August 18th here at the Senior Center. The city bus provides rides now to Clifton Park Walmart every first and third Wednesday of the month from 9:15 to 11:15. This is on top of our daily bus schedule. Please contact Eileen here at the Senior Center if you're interested. I met with Capital Roots representative Eliza Orlando Milbauer. She's provided me information on creating Healthy Communities Grant that will provide funding for pedestrians, public transit, and bicycle infrastructure, along with technical support to help a vision for a complete street policy. So that's in process. And I have applied for the Saratoga County Community Accessibility and Inclusion for Children and Youth with Special Health Care Needs Grant. The grant has been completed and sent in. It is a $5,000 grant application for 2 projects that we're interested in. It's within our playgrounds for adaptive and assisted swings, as well as play equipment suitable for and including the children and youth with special health care needs. Thank you.
All set? No Chief Rabbit, no Chief Dunn. Lynn, you got anything?
I do not, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to move on to our public hearing for our water rate increase. I know since I've been mayor, the last 3 years, we've taken over $750,000 out of the general fund to assist. And last year, we did $100,000 out of the sewer fund. At our present rates, we cannot sustain this loss of revenue for the rest of the city from the general fund. I feel that the water plant and water system needs to be able to stand more on its own financially. Over the past couple of years, we've had some loans that we are now paying. There's $5 million worth of loans now that we have to pay over the next 30 years. I think it ends in 2050 or something like that. So over the past couple of years, there's been some expenses that have been added to the water plant that were never there previously. So that's, my feel. I did say we put 20% on the increase, but after talking to a few people, 20% may not be enough. Maybe we should consider 25%, because 20% is not going to get us above water on the infrastructure. With the amount of work that's going to come up with these after our lead and copper survey that went in, we're going to have to do significant work over the next 10 years, and we do not have the financial backing to do it. We can't rely on all the government, we say go for government grants, but we don't have the money for a lot of the matches. We don't have the funds to do a lot of the grants. If you get them, you got to have a 20% match. So, and I feel we should start trying to stop drawing from the general fund. In hindsight, when Mark was here, when we did the last water rate, I listened to the crowd, and we took money from the general fund that evening. We should have done the increase 18 months ago, and not that would have got us financially secure, but it would have been moving us in the right direction. I know, we say it's a fund balance, but we use the fund balance on, we can't build other things we can't build for a capital program if we're just going to keep subsidizing the water plant with money from the general fund and the sewer fund. And that's what I have to say on it, but I don't know if anybody else on the
I'd like
committee
to
up
speak
here
to
would like to say anything.
a little bit as well. In running the numbers, I think the mayor is maybe even understating a little bit the depth of our concern. According to a report that I just ran today, in 2024, we had overspent in the water fund by over $189,000. Now, this is in addition to the $200,000 that we had already taken from the general fund and a $97,000 aid to municipalities that we had received. So our deficit, our operating deficit for '24 was $486,426.53. Now, looking at a 20% increase on the water fund to try and make everything, to balance everything, a 20% increase is only going to raise $170,000 to $2668. That still is a shortfall from what we need. If we were to actually completely balance that fund, we would need a 40.73% increase on water. I think that's unfair to do to residents on short term. I think we have to really assess what's going on as far as the future of the water plant and maybe establish a commission to look at water, at the viability of maintaining our own water system, whether we need to rely on Saratoga, whether we need to sell the water treatment plant to a bottler and then buy water from them. There's a bunch of kind of far-flung options, but we need to start assessing things like that, because if we keep hemorrhaging this money, it's going to continue to drain our general fund. And as the mayor pointed out, we aren't going to have the funds for infrastructure and for other development. And if anybody's interested, I went back today and looked at how much we've been taking out of the general fund and putting toward the water fund. On average, in the last 4 years, we've been supporting the water fund overall by about $395,000. The prior 4 years, it was only $162,000. The difference in between those times is we lost large water customers. We had more of the water main breaks. We haven't gotten grants very much. The interest and penalty collection has gone up, so that's a point in our favor. Inflation has gone up over the last 10 years, 33% overall. And between all these factors coming into play, we're looking at substantial deficits that are just not sustainable. I think that raising the water rates, unfortunately, are necessary. I talked to the town of Schaghticoke today and asked them what the potential impact would be on a 20% increase on them. And they basically said that it wouldn't be enough to motivate them to undertake the capital project to get all of the water for Hemp Street Park from Troy. That would be a massive undertaking, and especially if our own residents were having the same water increase that we were heading off and passing toward our large water customer in Schaghticoke, that they would be understanding of that. I was afraid it would be much more off-putting, but I was kind of reassured by the conversation. And Schaghticoke would be interested in possibly pursuing a contract so we could have clear expectations for a specific period of time as far as costs and increase, and that way both municipalities could budget better. Other than that, I really think that the 20% is a good start, and it raises the initial water bills, the minimum, from $3.99 to $4.79 per 100 cubic feet. And the outside water rate would go from $7.16 to $8.59 per 100 cubic feet. Now, it's really hard to compare to other municipalities because they do quarterly billing, some of them. They have a base fee where you pay for your meter and other sunk costs that are in there, and then pay for your water on top of that. So it's really hard to compare apples to apples on this. But I did find a couple of comparators. Stillwater, for example, pays, when you translate their $5.50 per 1,000 gallon, it comes out to $4.11 per 100 cubic feet. Hemp Street Park currently from Troy is paying $4.53 per 1,000 gallons, but that's per quarter, was my understanding. And I need to verify that because that makes it $3.39 per 100 cubic feet, but per quarter. So quite a bit more than what we would be charging Hemp Street Park. So I just want to try and keep it fair for everybody. The last thing I want to mention is that there's some debate over whether to raise funds by attacking the water fund and raising rates there versus raising the tax rate overall. And you know, the money has to come from somewhere. It's just a matter of which way we decide to go with this. We either have to replenish the general fund or make the water fund self-sufficient. If we were to try and just raise taxes overall and support the water fund through the taxes, that's an across-the-board equal increase on everyone. By doing it through the water fund, at least the people who have the minimum utilization are least impacted by the increase. And I know it affects a lot of the elderly, a lot of people on fixed incomes. But to me, at least, it feels more fair to actually raise the water rates to solve this problem. And I feel this is a step in the right direction. And that's it.
You're good. Anything to say? There's something I forgot to mention earlier. Previously, EPA had assigned us a engineering firm to assist us with our issues at the water plant, which we did not have to pay for. The name of the group was the Cadmus Group. They've actually given us a recommendation report, but the week after I received the report, they were removed from, funding was removed, so we lost the Cadmus Group. So I appealed to the EPA, and Friday, we were notified that we have a group from Syracuse University that is going to help us with the water. And on our administrative order from EPA, I was able to get a November 30th date to come up with our corrective action plan. So there is quite a bit going on at the water plant, but I really enjoyed the Cadmus Group. The report was great, and I thought, and I kind of begged to have them to stay, but I failed, but I was able to get another group, an outside engineering firm, to come in and help us. And I think it's going to be, as Tamar said, we've got to get the issues resolved at the water plant. The water plant is 20 years old. We've done a majority of the instrumentation work has been changed, and right now we're in the process of updating some more. We've got some stuff on order. The previous city council meeting, we did a resolution for turbidity meters, and with the lower reservoir project, the raw water project, there is some instrumentation that is going to be changed on that contract, which the EPA that was one of the recommendations. So all this stuff is kind of falling in line, but believe me, this has been a very tedious process for us to get answers and get moving in the right direction. When we had the gentleman from Cadmus Group, I thought it was going to be, then I got the June 18th report, and then radio silence after that. So, but now it took maybe 6 weeks or so to get the answer from EPA on who is going to be able to help us now. So we're going to be moving in that direction as far as the future updates of the water plant. And we're looking, they're saying hopefully it's going to be a 3 to 5 year project. So we don't have to do it all at once. So I probably should have mentioned that earlier, but I think that's going to be very beneficial to us. Anything yet, Ian? No? Okay.
You set it up.
All right. We're set. Everybody's, wait a second, Pat, or Dennis. All right, Jim, did you want to say something?
Does he have a question related to the water rate increase? Yes. Yeah, so.
Well, we're not at the public hearing part. I'd like you to, whatever, I know you had some different numbers that kind of go along with tomorrow's.
I don't know, you said to share. That's what you were talking about.
What I had done, I did not look at the 2024 numbers because technically.
Jim, I'm
Yes.
so sorry, but James' microphone.
Sure. All right, so what I had done for the water fund is this water rate increase.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Jim DeVito,
I
the
work in the finance department.
finance department.
Sorry about that. So I didn't look at the 2024 numbers because realistically we haven't had them officially audited yet. So what I did is went back and researched as far as I possibly could go in this water fund. And on this spreadsheet, what it will show you is activity in the fund from 2016 to 2023. And right up on top, I wrote a little note. You can see on the metered water sales, how back in 2016, you were up to 875,000. You're down to 710 as of 2023. Significant decrease. Over the years, because I've been doing this since 1996, full-time, part-time, whatever, the water fund used to be very lucrative for the city, but you've lost Cascades, you've lost the town of Half Moon, parts of the town of Stillwater. Consequently, you have a recipe for disaster as far as a decrease in revenue, increase in expenses. What the mayor was talking about and Commissioner Martin was talking about, interfund transfers, again, that goes all the way back from 2016 to 2023. You can see, adding all that up, we've transferred over $1 million from the general fund to the water fund to try to make it somewhat profitable. In 2025, the mayor mentioned that we added now money from the sewer fund, which we did do, because now on top of the water fund, we've added $112,193 from the sewer fund. As you go down through the spreadsheet, I had two little stars there where it says real estate taxes. But one thing I found is the water plant has to pay taxes to the town of Stillwater. Those 2 years, some of the taxes were not misappropriated, but they were coded wrong. They got charged to the general fund and not the water fund. So there was about $75,000 worth of tax bills that haven't even hit the bottom line. Two other stars I put down below were on the materials and supplies and the repairs and maintenance, and you can just see, I mean, back in 2016, you had $58,000 for repairs and maintenance. 2023, you're up to $225,000. On the page on the back that you guys have, FX 832411, again, another new expense, because that's what you're paying the Saratoga County Water Authority. Next section down, I know the mayor talked about debt service. Again, on this spreadsheet, there's one of the debt services hasn't even been added to the spreadsheet yet, because the first time we made a payment was in 2024. And then I noted over to the right with the debt service that we have 3 of them. The water plant matures 2037, and then the 2 other ones go all the way out to 2051 and 2060. And what I did is I listed that's how much is owed still for those 3 debt services at the end of this current fiscal year. So again, you have over $6 million worth of debt service over the next 30 plus years. You guys don't have this on the sheet because I just noted these. The last 2 years, a budget has been done in the water fund where you appropriate fund balance to balance the budget. And the water fund does not even have the fund balance to appropriate. And at fiscal year end 2023, there was a negative fund balance in the water fund for $290,000. So if you look over where it says profit and loss, well, the profit and loss on the first line includes the money that is being transferred from the general fund. So for example, in 2016, the water fund profited almost $181,000. But if you didn't transfer the money from the general fund, the true profit and loss was $40,000. The true profit that year was $40,000. But as you keep going on, you can see where you're headed. The last 3 years, 2021, the water fund, again, it lost $106,000, almost $107,000. That was with $130,000 transferred from the general fund. So technically, if you didn't have the transfer from the general fund, the water fund would have lost $237,000. In 2022, it lost $263,000 and change. That was with a $160,000 transfer. So if the $160,000 transfer didn't happen, you would have lost $423,000 in 1 year in that fund. And then in 2023, you had an operating loss of $333,000, and that was with $200,000 getting transferred from the general fund. And if that didn't get transferred from the general fund, you would have lost over $500,000 in 1 year in that fund. So, I mean, what Tamara was saying about 20%, and you can ask the mayor this, I've been saying for a long time, 20% is only going to be a drop in the bucket. That's not going to get you out of the hole. And what do? Because you have a recipe for disaster in this fund, because you keep seeing expenses increase and your revenues decrease. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Yep. And you want to comment on what you said on the board? All right, we're going to open the public hearing now. Come up and, Tom's first.
Tom Mahoney with the Express.
Public hearing opened at 6:40.
Okay. You want to raise the rate to 479 per 100 cubic feet, right?
Yes.
Okay, what is the real cost?
Regarding,
At 479, 100 per 100 cubic feet, we will break even, or will we still be in a deficit?
no, we're still going to have a
Okay,
deficit.
so what would be the real cost per 100 cubic feet to be zero?
It would be a 40.73% increase. So that would be,
20% more.
20% more, so for about $5.80 per 100 cubic feet, right?
yes.
Okay, how much would it cost to get all the water from Saratoga County?
I don't have any idea on that yet.
Okay, because the other part, of course, we'd also have to keep in mind that approximately 40% of the water we get is wasted, right?
Yes, currently.
Okay, and what is normal waste, 20%?
Around 20.
I mean, for a municipality.
For a
you say
municipality,
20%
about,
is normal.
yeah, 12 to 18%, 20% is a little high.
Okay, so we are wasting too much water. The real cost is another $1 per 100 cubic feet. And it would seem to me, I've been going to these meetings for 14 years, and you know what they talk about all the time? Is the water plant and how it's costing money. So my question is, why not get all the water from Saratoga County and find a way to get out from under the water plant? Because nobody seems to have any answers.
We are locked into some long-term debt on the water treatment plant. That's going to be there regardless, even if we do get all the,
If you sold the water plant, you might be,
yeah, we would have to see if we can, and that's something I think we should have a commission to look at.
and if you're losing hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, this is not workable.
No, definitely.
So why not look for a solution? And it seems to me the solution is to sell it. And the other thing is to find out how much it costs to get water from Saratoga County.
And also if the pipes and the infrastructure that we have would support that volume of water coming from Saratoga currently.
Don't we have most of that now?
We have one pipe that delivers the 150,000 gallons, but I don't know if that's suitable to sustain the needs of the entire city.
May not be. But
The unfortunate part of the county water comes from far away. When it gets to us, it has minimal chlorine in it, which is going to be a problem because now we have to rechlorinate it, which will increase our disinfectant byproducts. That is something that that's one of the things I've been trying to work on. Mm-hmm. They are talking GAC filters, which are about $1 million. So if we bring all the water from Saratoga County, we'd have to expand the water plant.
you couldn't shut down the water.
Well, the water plant's gonna go, you have to treat the water coming from the county.
Well,
And we put the county water in, it was gonna be for a backup. Now, if we lose ours, we have no more backup now.
right.
So, but I don't know what the answer to that is,
Well, I
Tom.
mean, a lot of the other communities in Saratoga County don't have backup now either. because-
Half Moon gets their water from Tomahawk and the county. They get from two supplies.
Okay, which I suppose theoretically we could get from Tamahanic, but again, more pipes, more.
Oh yeah,
Or,
Another 10 million, you can get more pipes.
well, I would suggest, as Tamara alluded to, maybe form some kind of commission and figure out what to do. Losing $500,000 a year doesn't seem to be any kind of a solution. And part of it is, yes, we waste double what we should be wasting.
When we repaired the line on the 4-inch water line on Central Avenue 3 years ago, the waste went from 40% to 15%. Now we had another 4-inch water line break on Mabott Street that had to be leaking for a while for it to come to the surface. So I'm assuming after that 4-inch line is repaired, we should see a reduction in the waste.
We certainly hope so. Which also would reduce your real cost to actually deliver water to the homeowner from less than 580 per 100 cubic feet if there's less of it is being just going down the drain, right?
We still need money to operate the water plant and support our infrastructure.
Oh, I understand that, but I'm just saying your real cost would go down slightly if you reduce your waste. I mean, that's,
We have to some way come up with the money to support the water system and increase a bank account for future work down the road.
well, then I would suggest everybody get their heads together and try to come up with some kind of a solution, because this right now doesn't seem to be working.
I'll call the people in Troy. They're working on it worse than we are.
Oh, I don't doubt they are, but on the other hand, we don't seem to be making any progress. And
Like I said, we did one repair. It stopped a large water leak. Now we had another one develop.
and then you got a Taco project. By the way, on the Taco project, what percentage of the city is going to be covered by that? 30%? 35%?
We don't have to put it, we wrote a letter through Barton LaJudas. We don't have to do the match. We can spend up to 800,000 and we don't have to do anything.
Right, but how much of the city will be covered?
I think what you're saying.
You mean in repair work?
Yeah,
Well, right now, that one is going to be, we're going to try to put valves in to isolate if we do have breaks to do maintenance down the road.
right, but it's going to be the west side, right?
We have not made the determination on where the valves are going to go.
But we don't.
There are 2 spots on the west side we want to put them because there was already some isolation valves put in when they did the work on First Street. We have to do something with Main Street, so we're going to have a meeting with the group the 21st, I think the date was, to start the engineering work.
But there's not enough money in the Taco grant to do the whole city, right?
No, no.
So we're looking at a percentage of the city. A percentage of the city will be covered, not the whole city.
Correct.
Half this, half.
I'm hoping we're going to be able to get 5 isolation valves in. So certain area, if you do have a problem, we're not opening hydrants anymore. We're going to be able to turn these new valves. The water flow will stop from the one months ago. They want to put one by the train station XO Tower, which will stop that wave on the west side.
All right, and then in the meantime, since it's costing us $1 more per 100 cubic feet even after this raise for the next year, the city will just have to put more from the general fund into the water fund, right?
I assume that we're going to need another substantial increase next year as well. It might be prudent to do it now, but I think this is still just something that we're informing taxpayers about. And even at 20%, I hate having to do that.
Well, to break even, you'll have to do another 20% next year. Okay, all right, thank you.
Hi. So yet again, we have a resolution on here tonight, 52-2025. You're having a public hearing, and instead of waiting till next month's meeting to do this, you're rolling out the resolution tonight. And I'll say again, for the millionth time, what I say every single time we do this, it's the wrong way to do it. What it says to me and other people that spend their time coming to these meetings and speaking up and trying to find out what's going on is that no matter what we say, you're going to do it anyways. No matter what the topic. When you put a resolution on the same night as a public hearing to adopt what you have a public hearing on, that's the message it sends. Why bother being up here talking? Because really, it doesn't matter what I say. It's not going to influence you in any way, shape, or form, no matter what it is. That's the wrong way to do things. With that being said, Mayor Butler, you had stated during the budget 2025 sessions, before you guys actually adopted it, that the water rates were going to be increasing 12%. What happened with that?
It was a mistake on my part.
How was it a mistake on your part? You clearly said it multiple times.
I didn't thoroughly research all the costs and expenses that is incurred at the water plant.
Okay, so we didn't do a 12% increase, but gave the impression, Tamar, with having said that, that 12% would somehow be calculated into the revenue that you estimated in the 2025 budget. Was it at all?
Yes, it was calculated into the 2025 budget. But what we found in analyzing 2024 was that there was still a significant shortfall with
I don't care
24.
about that, not to be rude, but
Okay.
my question is very specific. So Mike said we're raising the water rates 12%. No resolution was done to do that, by the way. And I'm asking you if that 12% was put into the revenue for 2025. I don't want to worry about 2024 right now. That's just my question about 2025. And you're saying yes?
In the budget?
It was, yes.
Yes, it was in the budget.
Okay. So even though you've put in that revenue that's not going to realize itself,
Yes.
and we didn't do things the proper way, now here we are again. I don't understand how that happens. I just don't understand that coming and saying something, first you're going to raise the water rates and sewer rates, then it was just going to be the water rates 12%, and then this happened. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I think that we didn't fully understand the scope of the problem at that point in
I think
time.
you fully didn't understand the process, clearly. That's a big part of the problem right there. But then you're saying, yes, but now we need more than 12%. It's just,
Kim, you don't have a limit on time, but
Right.
are you talking about a public hearing that they had where the crowd complained about the
no,
increase? So they
no, that was when Mark was here.
That was the
I'm
budget
talking
hearing. The
about-
budget hearing, we said we were
I'm
going
talking
to
about
increase rate
when
12%.
they were
I'm just trying to
having,
understand.
yeah, I'm talking when they had the budget workshops, and then they had, the public hearing on the budget, and then it took them a little bit more time to pass the budget.
Gotcha.
And Mike had specifically said that the water rates were going to be raised 12%. Sorry. But yet, no resolution was done to do that, so I knew they couldn't actually do that without having a resolution in place. Plus, you can't be in the middle of a building cycle either. So that's my question about that. So, Mike, you were just talking about the percentage of water loss and everything. It was 40-something, and then 12%, and now it's back up to 40. It may not be exact numbers, I didn't write it
Correct.
down, what you said. Who determines that and how?
It's in the annual water report. That's where I found the numbers. It's in the annual water report.
Okay, so if we have a bunch of water main breaks and they have to open the hydrants, we're obviously losing water there, right? That'd be unaccounted for water, unbilled water, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. So I know we don't have time during a water main break, and I'm not suggesting this to meter the hydrants, but when they flush the hydrants, and this has come up before, I don't understand why we don't, just to try to kind of help us see what truly amount of water is going by the wayside. If they're flushing a hydrant, just like if you sell water to someone, there's a meter on it while they hook up to the hydrant. Why can we not do that, just to kind of, I think, have a more accurate versus a yearly report of seeing what's going on?
I don't know what you would use. I've never seen it done with a meter.
Well, I'm not an expert in that area, I'm just suggesting that there has to be a way to do it. I've talked to some people that know a little bit about it, so I think we should look into that. What would it hurt? Because when they're flushing the hydrant, it's not like a water main break where they're pressed for time and it's very crucial of what they're doing, right? When they're flushing the hydrants, they might have an extra couple minutes to throw a meter on there, or they don't get it if there's a way to meter what we're using by flushing the hydrants.
Okay?
Okay. I want to talk about a couple of things that I brought up before about water. Salaries. For years and years, we've attributed, and I didn't bring the figures, but you all know what I'm talking about. For instance, Pat's salary, 33% of it goes to water, 33% to sewer, the accounts deputy, the accounts commissioner, finance, etc. And I've asked for years, why are we doing that? You're unnecessarily inflating expenses in water and sewer for no good reason. And to use the excuse that, well, the accounts office sends out the water bills. Well, that's part of their job. So I know this year, tomorrow, and I didn't bring the sheet with me, that we attributed less to water and sewer from some of these salaries. I don't know if we did away with, I think Pat's is a little bit less now for what we take. Why don't we just do away with that? Because clearly there's not a law that says we have to do it, or we wouldn't have even reduced doing it. So for years and years and years, and I'd love to go back and find how far back that goes. If you added up that money, it's got to be a big chunk of change. So again, why did we not just take it all off there? There's no reason not to. And then you have a realistic idea. It's kind of like, so the accounts office also does dog licenses. They don't charge part of the commissioner and deputy commissioner salaries to public safety just because the ACO is under the public safety office. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same kind of...
It's the same principle. I get what you're saying. From my perspective, it makes sense to still have things go to, portions of the salary to go to the water fund. And the reason I feel that it makes sense is that you're talking about shifting the cost. And the cost is either going to be borne and documented in the general fund or it's going to be in the water fund. Now, just because the water fund is in trouble doesn't mean that it doesn't rely on legal services and DPW services and services from the accounts office and finance. So I think it's appropriate that those costs be borne by the water fund. And it's just a matter of how you pay for it. If you want to have the taxes overall raised to cover that difference, that's one way to handle it. But I personally feel that it makes more sense to have that money come out of the water fund where heavy utilizers are paying a greater proportion or a greater amount of the cost, not a proportion, but a greater amount of the cost.
We're going to agree to disagree on that. Because then what we should be doing is if Pat comes and fixes something in the accounts office, maybe part of Pat's salary or his laborer salary is going to have to be attributed to the accounts office because they do an awful lot of repairs there. I mean, how far do you want to take it? You could do that with the entire city. It doesn't make any sense. And it should be attributed to where it actually, should go. So for instance, whoever works for the water department, obviously that would make sense for their salaries to, be attributed to the water department. They work there.
Yes, and that's there. But part of the accounts office, for example, does the HR for that. They do all the water billing, which is a significant chunk of time. They do a lot of the reporting involved with that. So based on the proportion of their time that, well, you know.
Well, we're going to, again, agree to disagree, because maybe back in the day that was true when they had all those books that the DPW workers had to go house to house and report it in a book and bring it back to the deputy commissioner, and she had to go through every single book. Now it's automated, so I think even less reason to be doing it, what you're suggesting.
Okay, so the alternative is to raise taxes instead of?
Well, no, because see, I have to live within my budget. So if I decide I want a new car but I can't afford it, I shouldn't be buying a new car. I have to look at my expenses and see where my money is best spent, what are my priority and my needs versus my income, etc. I don't just go getting more things and adding more to my expenses. And I truly don't believe that the city really takes a hard look at where are all our expenses coming from. Inflation aside and all that stuff, we got to figure out why all these things have increased. We'll come back to that in a minute. I've also brought up the Saratoga County water contract. So the first year of that contract, we had to pay for 50,000 gallons of water per day, whether we used it or not. Second year, 100,000 gallons of water per day, whether we used it or not. Third year, and so forth, 150,000 gallons of water per day, whether we used it or not. Now, we also, as the mayor was saying, have to treat that water because when mixed with ours, it's going to be a problem, etc. It's different taste, whatever. So that's an additional expense by using Saratoga County water. Is an additional expense for us because we have to chemically treat it. We all know the price of chemicals have gone up. So I don't understand why we don't get rid of that contract. I don't understand what good it's really doing us. Are we even using 150,000 gallons of water, of that water per day at all?
Yes, we are using that much of the water.
Every single day. Pat, can you confirm that?
Well, it's not done by day because they have to manually open and shut that valve.
Contract,
but based on the quarterly billings that I see, that minimum amount is usually met, is always met, and usually exceeded slightly.
All right, I guess I'll foil all that so you can share all that with me because I don't believe that.
Okay, I'd be happy to share those bills with you.
Yeah. And that's why I'm asking the DPW commissioner if he can verify for me that we use that water every single day.
I would have to ask the water supervisor.
Could you ask that and get back to me, please?
We are not presently using the county water.
Okay. How often would you say, Mike, that?
We're not using it, we've got some, we can't use it right now. We're testing it monthly, and then we'll see if we can use it.
Okay, that has not been reflected in the bills I've seen for it yet.
Correct.
Right.
It's in the, we're gonna pay, use it or not.
Okay.
Right, as I just was rolling out, that's my whole point. We have to pay for it whether we use it or
The
not.
contract runs out in '26.
Okay, so we should start, that's next year, so we should really rethink that. And I know at the time when it was first done, there was other reasons why. We had a lot of water customers at that time that we don't presently have. And it's not like we're going to be getting any more water customers unless people build in the city of Mechanicsville, which we're very limited to. So I really think that we need to think about that and do what's in our best interest. So the 20% increase, I hear what you're saying, but again, I'm not sitting where you're sitting, so I can't see the information that you guys see unless I FOIL it. And I find it hard to believe that we can't, citywide, figure out a way to make things work and to cut expenses. We shouldn't be spending money just because we have it. The whole goal isn't, you have money budgeted, so see how much of your budget you can spend out of each of your departments. We should be very conservative and be thinking of the taxpayers, and if we don't need it, we shouldn't be buying it. If we can, like I said, treat it like I treat my personal expenses, which is very conservatively. Because now you want to raise taxes, you want to raise 20%, which is significant. I hear everything Jim said and you're saying, but that's a lot for some people. And honestly, the minimum bill, so say if you're like a senior that lives by yourself and you don't even come close to using that minimum amount, you're still paying that minimum bill. It's going to be a hardship for a lot of people. That's concerning. You're not doing anything to make people want to live here. I have to tell you, I'm saying this very sadly, it just struck me today. For the first time in all the time I've lived here, I'm thinking that Mechanicsville is not the place to be anymore. And that's sad, because all you're going to be left with is people coming in, buying up houses, chopping them up, making more apartments, not living here. You're losing. The city has drastically changed. And if you don't see that, you need to wake up. Our crime has increased. I have to applaud our police department because they really could use more people. And they're up against a lot in this city. I almost hit someone coming under the Dutch Gap this week because those stupid electric bikes or whatever they are, the kid came flying through there when my light turned green. I always creep under there because I'm always afraid someone's running the red light. And he almost smashed right in the front of my vehicle. I mean, and I'm not the only one that experiences that. We are not going in the right direction. And the constant answer can't be, oh, okay, we're going to 20% increase. And then you know what? Next year we'll do another maybe 20, 30% increase. Or, hey, if you don't like that, we're going to threaten you with raising the taxes. You need to figure it out. And Tamar, I disagree with what you said. You said we haven't got many grants. All we talk about are grants, which I think are wonderful. Tonko money doesn't cost us anything. We've gotten CDBG grants.
The state aid for cities, state aid for municipalities, that was the $97,000, and we only received.
That's not what you said. You said grants. You generalized said grants. So that's why
then I apologize that I misspoke.
So again, and I just, it's so frustrating to come to these meetings, which by the way isn't going to stop me, and have to listen to this stuff and say things, and I might as well be talking to the wall. Because again, you're not, okay, let her talk, she can talk however long she wants, then her time's up, move the next person. You have to start considering what people are saying. I don't come here again because I have nothing better to do with my life. I come here because I actually care. I want to see the city succeed. I want to see things get better. I want to see our community thrive. But we are so, again, take a walk around the city. You all have to see it. There's nothing to entice people to move here, like actual families and everything, and people that you want to help build your community. I just think it's really, really sad. And, My last point is, we have outside water accounts. Besides the rail yard in town of Scottsbluff, we have a handful on 67. So I'm wondering, what are we doing to collect any outstanding outside water usage delinquent accounts?
I will talk to Cheryl and have her get back to you on that one.
Okay, I'll send her an email if you want, that's easier. Because obviously, as you know, those outside water accounts, we can't re-levy it onto the taxes.
Correct.
So it's tough, because they're not gonna knock down your door to pay those bills, because they know there's not a lot quickly that you can do to them. So I guess that's it, other than the fact that, I don't know, Mike, not related to increase, but what you were saying about the EPA and all that administrative order, how can I find out more about that? That
As
has to
far,
do with
I'm
water.
sorry.
Yeah, so that you were talking about EPA administrative order,
Yep.
action plan we have to have to them by November 30th. How can I find
November
out
30th.
more about that? Because
Well, we haven't created it yet. I'll probably have to share it with I think I have to share it with the public when we come up with it. But
Or like the
because we lost our
report
first engineering firm, we haven't done it yet. We don't have it.
Right, but you mentioned there was a report on 6/18, so how can I, is that, any of that on the website?
No, it's not.
Can it be put on the website? 'Cause I mean,
I would add, I'm gonna have to show it.
I'll have to look, we went over this last time, I have to look and see what it says, because there's huge safety concerns when it comes to a water source. I haven't
and you
seen
were
it.
dead.
I'll show her
Yeah,
I'll share it with,
Yeah, it just would be nice, being that we're talking about all these water issues, and we have grants and this, that, and it'd kind of be nice to people to see more of the picture, to maybe make them understand better. And if I'm asking, and I'm here all the time, and I don't have a clue, that's an issue. Thank you.
This is a direct result of significant placement for the last 40 years is why we're in this particular situation. Now, talking about all these people left, 10th Street Park will be next, and if things don't straighten out, they're going to lose Frog Island, which is what the citizens advise right now, okay? So you're going to have less funds that's in there, okay? There needs to be something evaluated and including all the types of spending that's we've been used to for the past 40 years. Something's got to change because we can't carry the whole load if the people on the other side don't do what they're supposed to do. This particular regiment, you're just walking into this situation, but this has been going on and it's finally coming to a head and we're the ones that's suffering, okay? The spending has to be cut somehow, all right? Needs to be clean. Equipment, stuff, no more brand new stuff when the other stuff can be repaired, etc. Now, you say the Saratoga County Water Authority is going to be out 2026?
the contract.
The time is up then, okay. Now, when you originally set this contract up, were you told you can only have it for so many years, or you were told to have it for this specific amount of years?
I wasn't involved, but it's a 10-year contract.
It was a 10-year contract?
I wasn't involved with mechanicals, but yeah, all the communities have 10-year contracts.
Okay, so it's either 10 years or nothing.
Correct.
Okay, all right. Now, this is something a little strange. I know you flush the hydrants, but how come you can't reclaim the water and bring it back and refilter it? You talk about you flush the hydrants and everything like this. I don't know your gallons because you don't have any meters on your mains.
I don't know.
But still, you understand that you could reclaim that water, bring it back and refilter it. Okay, because that's a total waste, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, something's got to be done about that because that's water we already paid to process that you're throwing out in the street. That's like cooking a meal and taking it and throwing it out the window. Something's got to be looked at over that. Now, as far as the people, Ham Street Park will probably be next getting off of our roster for supplying water to.
They indicated that they are very interested in staying with Mechanicville long-term.
At the moment.
At the moment, yes.
Okay. All right. I don't know how many people are involved, but it's only 5 miles to Scottsbluff.
They're interested in getting into a contract.
9 miles to Pleasantdale, which is where we get the water from. So depending on who engineers it, or who steps up to the plate, or comes up with an idea, we're gonna be left holding the bag, okay? Because we're not gonna have that revenue, okay? So you're gonna have to plan on the revenue not being there. Okay, and the same thing, now, we supply Frog Island, okay? Now, if there's something happens, Stillwater gets some sort of an incentive or something, a funding, they will start supplying water to Frog Island.
Dave,
The
I
only
don't-
reason why they
Dave.
haven't done it yet.
Dave, I don't think we supply Frog Island. They just put a
The
brand
only
new,
problem is they have to go across the railroad tracks, that's the whole.
never mind. Keep going.
Okay, so, whatever. Okay, that was been a big problem, otherwise that they'd have done it a long time ago.
I have a question on
Dennis, say your name and
Dennis
address.
Gaspy, Ensign Avenue. Question on your water main breaks. A few years ago, we used to do it through the DPW, repairing them. Now we have a contractor doing it. What's that costing us?
I don't have the figures exactly. Patrick, do you have any information on that?
And why can't the DPW?
I don't have any figures, and
It's approximately $40,000 for the last big water main breaks. Each one's been about $40,000.
Why can't the DPW do it?
And you also gotta remember, back in the day, Mr. Gaspy, like I said before, I know this is your first meeting, DPW used to have 17 guys. I have 7 guys. 6 of them are 3 years or less in the city. So
Oh, yeah.
you're talking about more experience. Just make sure my voice is getting there. So you had more experienced guys back in the past. I have all new guys that don't have the education yet. That's why I've been trying to say to this council that you need to build DPW back up with manpower. So start training them. So then 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the road, you can stop contracting out to other services. And Half Moon, Waterford, I don't know if it's the town of Stillwater, they contract all their water breaks out, just to let you know, which I think this city should look into until you can build the DPW department back up with the manpower to do the work.
Well, that's a lot of money being thrown away.
So the only other thing is to build your DPW department up with manpower. So 3 years, 5 years down the road, they will have the education when you have 12, 14 guys in that department.
Your mayors are the ones that threw the guys out.
Not this mayor, but no, that's the problem. They never replenish they've been neglecting the DPW for a long time.
Right.
I just want to make that clear. Sorry, I get loud, sorry.
My name's Darlene McGraw. I wanted to reiterate a little bit of what Kim said. The minimum amount that people would have to pay, that is a giant amount for some people. That is way too much for some people to have to pay. A lot of people aren't going to want to be living here in this city. The city is already small enough and doesn't have that many people compared to other cities and other municipalities. We can't compare ourselves to towns and villages because we are not a town or a village, we're a city. So we need to compare ourselves to a city. And we need to make sure we can keep the people we have already and keep the businesses we have already. That includes laundromats that use our water and restaurants and other places like that that use our water. And we need to think, how is it going to be rated, like a tax rate per gallon, per cubic foot, and all that stuff. And everything has a useful life, just like they talk a lot about bridges. Our water facilities and everything like that has its useful life. Do you want to keep fixing up something that keeps breaking the pipes? Do you want to keep fixing each and every pipe every time it breaks? Or do you want to just get new? It's going to cost a lot of money to get brand new. But do you want to keep fixing up something and buying something from the dollar store? Or do you want to keep getting something from the Macy's store? Something that's going to cost a lot more money but might work a little better. You ever go outside and walk outside when it rains? These streets are pathetic because they're slopped in water. A lot of it. You should take a walk outside when it's raining and get soaked. Not talking about above us, but on your feet and ankles. And we need to make sure that we treat where our water goes down and our drains with respect. Make sure when it comes fall time, we need to make sure we come together and take the leaves and everything out and clean our drains the best we can so we can be together as a community. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Mayor, you referred a little bit earlier to the report we asked for last time from B&L regarding the water, and you were going to have the council review it. Is that about ready for us to read? It didn't happen
It
yet?
has not happened yet.
When do you expect that will happen?
I don't want to give you a date.
Okay.
Soon.
Soon. By the next September meeting?
Yes.
Okay. And what about the other report that you just referred to, the Cadmus report, or however you say that? Would that be reviewable and
I'll share it with it. I'm going to share it with Lynn, and I'm sure I can share it with the council. I don't know. I'm going to ask Lynn's opinion on it.
Okay.
And you know the answer to this, but they're inter-municipal reports. They do not have to release them. This council is kind enough to release them. I'm just going to make sure there aren't any security issues.
Very good. I know this council is transparent. It's trying to make things available to the public and not trying to keep things secret. The group that you mentioned is going to be meeting on the 21st. Who will that group be and what will
That's
be
Barton
discussing?
LaJudas is engineering for the initial discussion with DPW, and I'll probably go to it to discuss where we want to put in our water shut-off valves.
Okay, will anybody from the water department be there or just DPW and Barton LaJudas?
I would like to have the meeting at the water plant. I don't know if we can, but
Okay. As we've heard today from Dr. Martin and Jim, this used to be a golden goose, the water department, but it isn't any longer. It used to be a profit center, but it isn't any longer. It's a cost center. And for example, do you know how much water your group uses, your department uses?
I do not.
Do you know if the water being used at the waterfront is something that is metered or should be charged to your department?
it is not metered.
Not needed.
Not metered. And do you know how much the splash pad is going to use? And
Well, that's going to be recycled,
it's going to be recycled, but how much will the usage be?
the tank itself.
2,500 gallon tank.
So will that be
It's,
once a year or
no,
once?
that's evaporation. You're going to lose it. I was told we won't know until we have a full cycle year on how much, because with the concrete, it's going to run back in, but it's still going to evaporate. It's hard. The engineer told me until you run the splash pad for a year, that's when you're going to have a good idea of what it's going to take to run it.
How much evaporation do you think we get from the fountain in the park?
Lots.
Lots, okay. The point is that Barton and Judas and Pat and others have said several times that we should be metering Mechanicville city water use from the city departments. Not so much that we're going to charge, because we're not going to charge for that, but at least we'd have an idea of where some of this excess water is going, and not just writing it all off the loss. Pat, do you know how much it costs us for 1 meter to put it on like a 1-inch line? No? Do you have different costs for different size meters depending on the line size?
I can get that to you.
Okay, that would be good. Do we currently charge anybody for installing those meters?
Yeah, and I can also get that from you from accounts too.
Okay, so we're not sure if we charge for even the measurement of the water. Over the last 5 years, as we've heard from Dr. Martin and Jim, it's cost the city about $2 million, almost $2 million to support the water fund, to support us getting water. Now, you might think and ask, what's the difference between us getting trash pickup, fire services, and water? Well, as Tim referred to, and Darlene, this department was set up as a profit center about 75 years ago. And it was a golden goose, and it kept laying extra money all the time that we could feed into the general fund. But that time is gone. And as Commissioner Martin suggested, it's time to look at what are we going to do with the water department. Now, as Mike has pointed out here a few times, we've got about $10 million in bonds outstanding, debt outstanding, that we have to cover for this water department. If somebody's going to come along and pay us $10 million and charge us a reasonable rate for the water, maybe we should sell it to them. But we don't even know because we haven't explored that. I like the idea that Commissioner Martin put forward that we establish a commission. Can we establish a commission or a committee? And can that be done by the council? Or what kind of rules do we have to follow to establish the difference between a committee like Ann has or a commission?
You want me to answer that?
Yeah. I don't know.
The city council makes the determination. I have not looked at that specific issue, so I don't want to give you a specific answer, but the charter calls Ann's a committee. That's why it's listed that way. So I'd have to look through and see.
Okay. 2 years ago, as Mike alluded to, we were at the same place, and the mayor and Mr. Sieber gave us the clear impression at that time that we had a $3 million surplus, and that meant that we could do a lot of things. And based on what the people in the audience said that night, the council decided only to go up a little bit on the raise, not to the full amount they wanted, because Mr. Sieber and the mayor did not have good numbers that night, and they couldn't substantiate the increase that they were going on. Well, tonight we have better numbers. We've heard better numbers from the finance commissioner. We've had better numbers from Jim.
I just want to say something. That $3 million of fund balance that you're talking about, you got to look at it. You got 3 funds, 3 businesses. That $3 million had nothing to do with the water fund. That was general fund related.
And it wasn't even there, was it, Jim?
I'm not going to say one way or the other until I really look at books and get them audited.
And you've been going through with the Commissioner of Finance for a year and a half now, just about, trying to dig back 2, 3, 4 years to straighten out the finances in the city.
Yes, and one thing, you got 3 funds. I will tell you, the sewer fund, you have no issues. The water fund, you have serious issues there, beyond serious issues.
Right.
The general fund, I'm hesitant to say anything on, because quite honestly, like I pointed out here, there were 2 bills charged not to the water fund that belonged to the water fund, okay? I've come across many transactions, like engineering costs, that got charged to the general fund, that should have been charged to the capital project funds. So when you make adjusting journal entries like that, now guess what? It increases your fund balance in the general fund. That's why I'm hesitant to say anything about the general fund, because of miscoding that has happened.
What year do you think we're good up till now? Are we good up to 2021, or did we draw a line in the sand?
Well, you were good in the water fund up through 2021. You were actually up through 2022. If you looked at the AUD and the audit, it actually said that you had a $47,000 fund balance in the water fund, but then you lost 333 in 1 year, so that put you at a negative 290.
Right.
Okay.
So since 2021, 4 years ago, we've been running in a negative balance.
Look, the numbers are right there.
Yeah.
Mr. Martin, if you look at 2020, it's the first year you started seeing a deficit. But again, I would say they're fake numbers because of the fact you were transferring money from another fund to subsidize the water fund. That's why I put down below, if you did not do these transfers, out of the 8 years I'm showing you here, 6 of the 8 would have been a negative, a loss.
Right. Right. Which was pretty eye-opening. And it's information that we have tonight that we didn't have 2 years ago, is what I'm trying to point out. So I think everybody here realizes now the water fund is in significant trouble. And as Kim pointed out, we have to be careful. 2 years ago, we bought a $1 million fire truck almost at the same time, thinking we had a $3 million surplus. There wasn't there. And tonight we've got on the agenda elsewhere that we want to buy a canine truck for money that was not proposed. Supposedly the canine program was going to be completely funded, but again we're going to into the city's funds for things that weren't balanced, weren't budgeted. So anyway, my point is that I think we need a commission. It's a lot for the mayor to try to juggle by himself. It's a lot for Patrick to try to juggle by himself. And I think we have to put a few people together. It's hard unless, we can't do it at a regular meeting unless finance, accounts, and mayor and DPW are all in the same room discussing it. But we can have their representatives on a committee. And that committee can look into this and provide information to the mayor, provide information to finance, and provide information to DPW. I think we've gone too long just putting it all on the mayor's shoulders. And there's just a lot that has to be thought about with what we want to do with water in the city. Something that seems like it doesn't ring true. Jim, on your sheet, it shows what we pay Saratoga County is less than $150,000 a year. The contract, I believe, was for $150,000 a year. And Mr. Sieber gave us the idea it was 150,000 gallons a day. Well, all of those things may be fictitious. I think we should take a look at the contract, especially since it's coming up next year. And if you remember, Mike, the reason why we were asked to get a backup water supply is because EPA recommended it, because our water supply maybe was not going to be 100% capable in the future. So they expected us, as part of the recommendation from EPA, was to get a backup water supply. So that's why we had to do that. The thing about the posting of the notice in the newspaper, we just put in the number of, what was it, $4.99? It should have said $4.99 per cubic feet. It should have listed a dollar amount per volume, not just a dollar amount. And the other thing that's kind of disingenuous is the fact that we put down the rate is $158 when that rate is $158 for 6 months, and for a minimum usage of 33 300 gallons, cubic feet, not gallons. So it should say the annual rate is $316, not $158.
Good evening, name's Matt Carmichael, live on Mulberry Street. Just some feedback based on what I'm hearing. So with the water system, definitely I would bill exactly what their operating accounts, their operating expenses are. So whatever the tax rate has to be raised to cover those expenses, I would just rip the Band-Aid off and do that. It's a model that New York City has adopted over the last few years. And what that does is, when you're using money from one fund to another, you're subsidizing it, which is okay in an interim process, meaning maybe less than a year. But if you do it long term, what happens is you start to ignore the symptoms. Like why exactly is it? Well, is it over budget? What are our expenses? Is it operating too high? And if the numbers aren't correct because you're stealing from Paul to pay Peter, or vice versa, you're getting fake information, and that's thus getting ignored. It sounds like the water plant, you said, Mike, was 20 years old?
I think it's 20.
Okay, which isn't very old. But I think I also heard that your waste is 40% instead of 20.
Correct.
So that tells me that's not a water plant issue, that tells me there's something wrong with the infrastructure. Right, it must be bad pipes or something somewhere, probably older infrastructure. So your plant may be at capacity, but you may have deficiencies in infrastructure somewhere else down the line. So that should be focused. Am I not, is that better? There is, I don't know what's in there, but in the recent Infrastructure Act that was passed within the last couple of years, there is money in there for water districts. I don't know exactly what that applies to, but I do know there is grant money in there that could be helpful. So it might be something that someone may want to research. Also, with the meters, I don't know how proactive people are, but definitely having meters and being proactive to the meters helps with the waste too. When we first bought the property on Mulberry Street, the tenant had ripped the toilet out and it wasn't usable, but it was still running. We had no idea. And within the first couple months of being there, after buying the building, we got a water bill from the city for over $2,000 that we had to pay because the water was running the whole time. But I know in my place in Altamont, when that had happened, I had received, within 30 days, I'd received a call from the town saying, what's going on with your water? Your meter's out of control. So I don't know if those proactive types of monitoring systems exist within this city, but I do know there are grants for those type of things, and that would obviously help with waste, which would reduce your cost. And as far as selling the plant, my advice would be, on a city this size and this small, the last thing you want to do is get rid of your assets. Don't sell any city assets. You'll never, ever, ever, ever get them back. So even I look now, you have 2 electric hydroelectric dams. None of them are in city limits. And you have a rail yard not in city limits. I mean, obviously those things were manipulated in a way years ago to avoid paying city taxes. But when you have your assets, when you lose your assets in your city, you're not going to get them back ever. So you're better off figuring out the issues, solving them, and then look at leasing the property. You could lease it to a bottling plant. You could sell your water to fire districts. You can find out who's selling water locally and undercut them. There's a lot of things you can do, and you can create teaming agreements with other municipalities. So there is a way to bring revenue back to the water plant, but I definitely would avoid selling any asset. I would probably look at leasing it if at all possible. That would be the best bet, because you'll never get that back. The water is something everyone's going to need. So if it's been profitable for, what do we say, over 70 years, and you're having 3 tough years, the math is going to add up for something to get rid of. I like the idea of someone forming a commission and seeing what can be done, but definitely it'd be an asset you want to hold, because water's going to be harder and harder to come by years down the road. And the city will grow. So I know you're having some financial issues now. There's a lot to be done. There is a lot of grant money out there. I know it's hard to get sometimes, but even at 20%, if someone says, hey, I'll give you $1 million, you come up with I'll give you 800,000, you come up with 200,000, we'll figure out a way to come up with 200,000 to get the free 800. So there are ways to get to that money, and that will help your city grow as well. I think that's all I have.
Thank you. Anybody else in the public comment for the, I'm sorry, public hearing for the water rates?
Hey, Mike, Mayor, is there only I know water right now?
This is water right now.
Okay.
All right, we'll close the hearing. Then you get the time?
7:30.
Perfect. All right, move on to public comment. You got your 5 minutes? That sounds quick.
This is not a whole meeting for us, so this is on the regular meeting, right?
Correct.
Okay, good. You mentioned on the financial report that's on the website, not on what we were given, it shows the balance is 1.026 million, correct?
Let me get to my sheet. Yes, that's for total cash.
But you've also mentioned you have money invested in another fund, correct?
Yes, in NICLAS.
How much?
That's 2.5 million.
Okay.
Is that the correct figure as of, because you just did a transfer?
I believe it's less than that.
Yeah,
If we say excess, we'll say around 2 million, would that be
A
correct?
little under 2 million.
yeah.
Okay, so the city's finances are pretty healthy. Okay. On a completely different,
That's cash in the bank. Yes.
on a completely different note, I noticed some of these lawns have very long, is there anything about how long people can get the grass grow before it has to be cut? I mean, especially with ticks and all
I think
that
it's
stuff.
12 inches.
Pardon?
12 inches.
Okay. The other thing, and what are they doing at the Anthony Denier Park? Is that because of the water?
Gas line.
Gas lines.
That's gas line, okay. Moving right along here. And the splash pad,
As soon as possible. That's what I keep telling everyone.
We're waiting, we have to finalize our safety program and protocol with Department of Health, and we had to install one more pump, which is due today.
you've been talking to April. Okay.
One more.
Definitely.
Company line, all right. Finally, one last thing. Pat, you mentioned Canal and Mavett Streets, and the street might be shut down. Which one, Canal or Mavett?
Mavett. It's in the intersection of Canal and Mavett.
So just that intersection?
Yeah.
Okay. And finally, actually, 250 years ago this December, Henry Knox came through Mechanicville delivering cannon to Boston, which was a very important event.
Yes, it was.
We don't have a city historian yet, though, do we?
No.
Have
And the
we-
Historical Society's kind of been put on hold.
Well, I understand that it's going to be formed because I'm a member, but have we made any attempt to advertise for it?
Well, Michelle Duell was heading it up, and things have she's got different priorities right
I
now.
understand she does, but the city has its priorities, so I'm wondering if the city is looking for a city historian.
We were going to do it through the Historical Society. We were not going to try to get another historian.
Okay, oh, so you have no plans to fill the position?
No.
Okay, so that's basically all up to that group?
That's what we were going to try. We may end up hiring one next year, or trying to get one next year.
And of course, it pays, what, $100 a year, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's not very much.
No. All right, okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's $100 a month.
Oh, Jimmy Thompson's coming. Hold on. Back row's coming.
Jim Thompson, 354 South Main Street. Had volunteered with the Mechanical Fire
Here, hold on.
Department for 55 years. I was a member of the John Ahern for 45. And it's just heartening that we had to read in the paper about LoSAP being funded. Been a member, like I said, 55 years. I'm the youngest guy collecting on the LoSAP. We have one member who's been in for 80 years. 15 members are collected. 20 years ago, we were sold beer goods to get people to stay in. 15 members are collecting LoSAP. All have over 50 years. And I know it's been not funded. Now they want to push the issue of pay per call. Our quote that the mayor owns the coffee club is upset because he says they have no respect for the older members. And I feel bad for these guys myself. And it was put out there, we shouldn't count on the money when number is told. It's like, it was a bonus extra money. How would you like to work, St. Clair's Hospital, good retired, they take it away. Well, pay per call, I don't know how it's going to work. The state controller's office monitors this program, and they look at the records. If you look back, I have the 13th, 2013, they audited it, and they found some discrepancies. But I know a pay per call, who's going to monitor this? And the city going to keep writing a check? I know they talk basically $1 a call. I mean, I don't know how it's going to happen. I know it's self-sufficient, that I know it's like 60-some odd percent.
Yeah, it's at 63% right now that it's funded. And there is $640,000-ish in that fund. In disbanding the fund, everybody who's got full credits of service is going to get credit for that and get a portion of that.
I understand.
The reason that we're looking at doing this is because part of what LoSAP was supposed to do was to incentivize more young members.
They have to be 65 to retire. And I know, like, an incentive, like they give you the fire department, you get a discount on your property taxes. Well, I'm a veteran. And I can't get both. He goes, you want both? Well, I earn both. But I can't. But remember, volunteers has changed. I mean, when you get anything, now members are joining in ones, you got new families, you got kids, you got more events. My grandchildren run constantly all these sports. They're disheartening,
Yeah, it really is.
The guy goes, what do you happen if you're going to you go to city council, you speak? I go, what do you do? Take away my birthday? They think they're going to retaliate. I mean,
no, we might actually get some good ideas.
I mean, I think we should, before we put out the vote, I think you should have a public vote.
Yes, we're going to have public hearings. We're going to have 2 of them. They have not yet been scheduled.
But I see it's proposed to put out the vote in the ballot.
Yeah. The timing of that was entirely my fault. I was under the impression that I had until September 4th to get the information to the Board of Elections. I was hoping to have a hearing, a meeting about it first, in order to let everybody know what was going on, what the status was. I spoke with Matt Dunn about that. He had strongly suggested to let him talk to the firefighters at this point in time.
I know.
But because the
deadline...
deadline...
are doing that, but also it's funded this year. So hold on, put it on the ballot the next year.
It is not currently funded this year.
I thought it was in the paper since for 25 was funded at 65%.
At 63%, we have not made either the 24 or the 25 contribution. They were not mandatory by law to be made, and we had a budget shortfall. What we're looking at is if this measure doesn't pass, that we would have to come up with the money and try and do a makeup contribution to fund it. That still would only get us to about 65%. The problem was the investments were poorly, the investment strategy was not aggressive enough. So on all those years that...
Well, that's what anybody's like 401ks and everything knows.
Yeah, we had a 3.3% return over 16 years.
Well, if these guys getting like this large sum of money, people think what's going to happen. The taxes are going to have to pay for that big chunk of money.
Unfortunately, it is going to have to be taxed as income.
Yes.
So that will impact some individuals, but in...
Everybody.
Yeah. In general, we're going to get from our actuaries more information about who's going to get what. And then once I get that information, I want to have a public meeting, especially reaching out to firefighters who have served the city and be able to tell you exactly what's going on. But at 63% funded, when it should have been 100% funded by this point in time, we just can't keep giving money into that fund, especially when the new firefighters coming in are not even signing up for it. It's not part of the draw.
You look at it, it's quite, I mean, yeah.
No,
I know, I got my card.
Yeah, you know what, sir, please feel free to give me a call. I'll be in the office tomorrow.
All right, thank you. Steve?
Steve Scambati, 3 Riverside Park North. I've lived in Mechanicville 83 years. Of those 83 years, I've been a volunteer fireman for 62 of them. I never asked for anything. 20 years ago, 19 and a half years ago, we were told to incentivize things for the fire department to get membership. We're going to institute Vendor Service Award program. Well, some people say that hasn't worked. You come to our meetings, 80% of the people that are at the meetings are people that are in the LoSAP program, and they're still members. And they have 40, 50. Joe Dugan's got 78 years of service, and he still makes meetings. I've lost sleep over this, and I can't blame many of you up there for the predicament we're in with LoSAP. We're someplace around $350,000, which is 33% of this deficit. That didn't happen just this year.
No,
it's happened for a long time. I took care of LoSAP for probably 12 years. And I know it's been reported that the fund lost money, the trust fund. In 1996, pardon, 2006, when the program was first started, the stock market, Dow Jones, was 10,177. It closed today at 44,922. How can you tell me, anybody, that this program lost money?
This is the real crime of this, and I'm sorry, I don't want to take up all your time, but I do want to explain. Okay.
I've got 83 years, I go more, don't worry about it.
There are still envelopes in my office from previous years from the administrator of the LoSAP program and the investment bank, RBC Wealth Management, that had not been opened. I was told by RBC Wealth Management that they had reached out repeatedly to Mechanicville and gotten no response as far as updating investment strategy during those years when the stock market was doing exceptionally well, or even just doing kind of good, and then we would have had the growth, you know, over time, which is what's important.
19 years that's been going on.
19 years that's been going on.
Because I was told the same thing several times, that the fund lost money. And I spoke to people in City Hall and got response. Now, with paying firemen to respond to calls, never going to work. I can remember back to 1996. The mayor, I was working for the city at the time as code enforcement.
Okay.
And the mayor would say to me, did we get a truck off the ramp today when we had no arm? And there were several times didn't get a truck off the ramp. Fast forward to 10 years ago, for whatever reason, we were doing so good with getting firemen to fires, we were getting to mutual aid calls before the host company.
Wow.
And now, to me, membership is like a sine wave. And right now, we're down here. 1996, we were over there. I don't think you're going to get people to volunteer with offering them money. You gotta have some pride in what you're doing. You gotta have some pride in who you are. You gotta have some pride in your community. And you're never gonna attract people by having disenfranchisement between the old guys and the young guys. And that's all that this is causing. And the third thing, we've got a meeting tomorrow night. There's going to be a lot of discussion about paying firemen and LoSAP. And we're going to probably have a vote of who's in favor of dropping LoSAP and going to paid per call. I don't know what you'll think of that vote.
Well, I think it's something really important to consider. It's just the way it's been going, it's been financially unsustainable. And we have to look at all options as far as structuring things to hopefully encourage new members. That vote, I think I would really like to learn more about what happens if you have that vote, and you'd be kind enough to contact me. The thing is, our resolution has said this is already going to be on the ballot in November. And since it's going to be on the ballot, the entire community will have an opportunity to vote on that and what the outcome is going to be. I do want to have more information sessions and schedule that. And I'm looking, mid to late September, and then again toward the end of October, once I have the numbers from our accountants on exactly who's going to get what. But you'll get a portion of the money that'll be your own to invest, and you can't do much worse than what our arrangements with RBC had been.
RBC has sent me a check every month.
Yes.
And I've gotten it faithfully deposited.
Steve, I'm sorry, but your time is up.
But the return on that investment...
My time is up?
So there's 5 minutes to talk during the public portion of the meeting. That's what she was saying. I don't want to waste your time. Thank you for your service.
Okay.
I apologize.
I will close with, thank you for your time. I can't really put the onus on you people, because most of you have only been there a year or two. It goes back to 2006. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's so much to talk about, but since I only have 5 minutes, I'm going to focus on the really, truly important things. So to piggyback on what these two volunteer gentlemen have just stated, no offense, Tamar, but you put the cart before the horse. You should have done your due diligence. You should have had the public hearings, even if it meant postponing this for another year. That would have been the right thing to do. Then these gentlemen could have come to the public hearing, explained their side of it, what's important to them, etc. So now you're going to put it out there. It's going to be on the ballot in November. You're going to have people vote on it that aren't part of the fire department. It means nothing to them. So who knows how it's going to go? This was the wrong way to do things. It really was. And those gentlemen are right. There's a lot of history with the amount of membership that we have that have been here for a very long time, and they still come around. The fire department is one of our most valuable assets in the city, in my opinion. You can call me biased, I really don't care. They're volunteers. They give of their time. Nobody wants to volunteer anymore. And you and I are back from the time when people were volunteering, PTA, Booster Club, different things. People would readily volunteer in multiple things. Nowadays, you don't see that no matter what. This isn't necessarily giving them pay per call, going to, like, people are going to be knocking down the door. That's not going to happen. It really isn't, no matter what organization you belong to, because people don't have the time anymore. They're too busy in their own lives. The society is so much more fast-paced. There's not the time and everything, and they don't. We brought our kids up to volunteer. That's how we brought all of our children up, by example, right? But people don't do that anymore. And because of the way Mechanical has also changed, you don't have the same families you had. You have a lot of people, thank God where I live so far, I still know all my neighbors. But there's so many sections of the city that, you don't have any idea who these people are, no offense, but it's a totally different city. And I applaud these guys. I mean, Joe Dugan, my God, That, I mean, Chibble Rocco, these guys, I mean, that is amazing that they have given throughout their lives, during their careers and bringing up their own kids and now grandkids, and they still come around, they still give back to this community. And like I said, they have so much institutional knowledge. I wish they'd all like write it all down. So, you know, the different things about the fire department, because it would just be amazing for people to be able to see that and what people have given. So I really think, again, policy, process, procedure is such an important thing. And if you go about it the wrong way, it causes a lot of unnecessary hardship and hurt feelings and chaos. So I'd get that meeting ASAP, if I were them. Then I wanted to talk about a couple things that Ray brought up that were attributed to me somehow, the fire truck. When I talked about cutting expenses and everything, I obviously wasn't talking about the fire truck. You'd have to be part of the fire department. I'm not going to speak on their behalf. They can do that themselves, but you know, when they need vehicles, they've actually downsized, and probably a lot of people don't realize that. There used to be multiple firehouses. We're now down to one. We used to have a lot more trucks than we had. We're down to what we have. And I want to speak about the MPD K9 car, because I've done my homework on this. And anyone that's around the firehouse police station knows that the current K9 car sounds like it's going to die a horrible death any second. I mean, it's that bad. So obviously our K9 Officer Luther and his handler, Officer McClements, actually have to have a vehicle specifically set up for the K9. So they are getting a car from Stillwater, which Mechanical has done this before. Stillwater rotates their cars every so many years, and Mechanical, this is probably the second or third time that I'm aware of in recent years, is able to purchase a car from them that is still in really good shape, and this is obviously going to replace the K9 car that's, you know, on its last leg. And that money is coming from the equipment budget of the Mechanical Police Department of the 2025 budgeted money. So it's not costing anything else. The chief is choosing to use that to purchase this very necessary vehicle. So I just wanted to put that out there. So I guess I'll just end it with asking about the audit from the Interstate Comptroller's Office. I know we had the auditor here for a very long period of time last year, and I'm anxiously waiting, being able to see a copy of that. Do we have any ETA on its arrival?
No contact whatsoever. Jim reached out to them on another matter, and we have not even heard back on that.
Okay, yeah, I'm very interested, as I'm sure a lot of people are.
Absolutely, I am too.
I guess I would advise you guys really start doing your research, your homework on things. I know it's not an easy job being out there. I'm not saying that it is, but a lot of the job is the desire to do the right thing, which is so important, and to do your own homework and think for yourselves. Thank you.
I didn't catch all our answers, so I'm going to have to redo this. The vacuum truck that puts on Resolution 53, MS4, my page 5. My question is, we have a vacuum truck. What's the MS4 bit about? Why are we getting people using their services?
This is so we can use Half Moons if ours is down. This is just a mutual aid agreement. It's free.
Okay, so that means we're just borrowing theirs until ours is fixed? Is that the idea?
If we need it, we're going to be able to use it.
Okay, all right. Now, Resolution 50, all equipment that should be sold should be reviewed, no dollar limit on it. Everything should be reviewed, because some people can fudge something and make it look like it's something else. Okay, so everything should be reviewed. Your K9 patrol car that you're going for, we had one. What happened to that?
It has engine problems.
Okay, $2,700 couldn't go another engine?
I was told it was not worth fixing.
By whom?
A mechanic, Chief Rabbit.
There seems to be one person makes decisions over stuff like this. We need to have more than one person review this stuff. because you seem to be going through too much equipment. That's either one of the other poor maintenance, or people who are disregarding and just abusing all the equipment somehow or another, because we see you spending too much on equipment.
Used equipment. Don't buy new equipment.
Next victim.
Last one.
Darlene McGraw, I live here in Mechanicsville. Believe it or not, 35 years ago, I said when I grow up, I wanted to be a firefighter. I said that when I was in kindergarten. I realized as I grew up that that was not possible because of my medical conditions. So I always try to help people out in other ways, and I thank our firefighters, our police, EMS, because those are things that I wanted to do when I was a kid, especially be a firefighter, but I cannot do. So I wanted to thank them and thank everybody that's helping them, because it's hard to be family member with them. I also like to help others, and I've offered to the city, and I want to make sure people know, I love to help people write grants, and I've helped other municipalities. So I'm offering here, and I'm putting it up at the city council meeting. If you would like me to help you write grants that I am aware of for the city, please let me know. I might need some information, but I will help you guys each with your different offices if you would like me to. I also wanted to say Supervisor Richardson on the County Board of Supervisors that's supposed to help our city, he's never here to represent us, and nor is he usually at the Board of Supervisors meetings. I went to meetings on August 5th, the DPW meeting and the Health and Human Service meeting at the county, and the county administrator said, and made sure it was said multiple times, the municipalities must pay their taxes and pay their fair share of the county's part, because if not, the county will have to increase their taxes. And if the municipalities do not pay their fair share, then the county will have to increase the taxes, which will make it more costly, ultimately, for everybody within the county. I was also able to get some information from the County Department of Health website, which it's even sadder to know that certain businesses are on the part that I was looking at. On the Department of Health tobacco report, ASC Mart Sunoco at 22 North Central Ave, they got one violation. Loco Exotic, 15 South Central Ave, they got one. Lucky's Market, 91 North Main Street, they got two. VIHO Mart, they got one at 46 North Main Street. They all got for prohibited flavored vape products for sale. So we need to make sure that, you know, we let these businesses know you're doing business here in our city. You need to make sure you're following the rules. You can't be doing this stuff and not following the rules. We don't want you here if you're not going to follow the rules.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, we'll close public comment and move on to resolutions. Resolution 52, 2025. Now therefore be resolved, the Mechanicsville City Council approves a water increase of 20%. Inside water rate $3.99 would increase to $4.79, making the minimum $158.07. Outside water rate is $7.16, and that'll increase to $8.59, making the minimum $283.43. I'd like to introduce. I'd like to have discussion on this now. After reading some of the stuff that Mr. DeVito and Commissioner Martin have said, I'd like to increase it to 30%. the rates would go, 30% rate would be $519, and a minimum, that this is an inside rate, is $171.27. The outside rate would be $9.31, and the minimum would be $307.23. As Mr. DeVito and Commissioner Martin said, we need to increase our water fund. And I don't know how the rest of the council feels about it, but I feel we should move to the 30%. I know, I've checked, you know, and believe me, it's hard to compare other municipalities. We're kind of, you know, what they charge. I don't want to get off on a tangent, but Malta just bought a water district. And what they did, they've sent the property owners, they're paying for the expenses now. Everybody's got to pay $600 a year for a length of time to cover that. I don't think Mechanical's ever done anything like this. I mean, we mentioned putting the water meters in. I think we put them, we supply services that other communities do not. And I think we just have to, we put the water meters in really at no cost. And you go someplace else, the water meters, you have to pay for them. And believe me, I don't know that number. But I just feel that we should go to the 30% now. And that's my opinion. You know, it's a council, you know, it's a council. You guys got as much say as I do in this form of government. So, I mean, I really don't know. I would like to change it to 30%. I've got the rates for 25%, which are still not going to meet our needs. I mean, it'd be 20 cents basically more on the inside rate, and the outside rate would be about 40 cents more. But I feel we should just go to the 30% now. We'll get it out in our October billings, and that's what I feel we should do, and I just like, you know, someone else has a comment?
I think that's a prudent thing to do. I think it's a lot more than the public was led to expect, but we have better data now. And
whether we vote tonight or next month,
It's $1 or $2. I mean,
it's not gonna change our situation whether we vote now. And I realize, to Kim's point, if maybe we should have done this 2 months ago, we didn't. But it's, as mayor, I move slow, I guess. So maybe, you know, that's what I feel. I feel we need to do it. We're gonna do it, and then.
Okay, so your options are, you have a motion and a second, you can table the vote.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna have to remove, because, meaning make another motion, amend your motion, if you're gonna go to 30, because you made a motion to go to 20.
To accept on the 20.
Yeah, and you'll need a second for that. So those are your two options.
Wait, what were the options again?
Because
I seconded that.
You seconded it, but because if you're gonna change the numbers and vote tonight, the mayor's going to have to amend his motion, and then somebody will have to second the new motion.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be you, it can be.
So he has to amend first.
I'd like to introduce it at 30%.
I second.
Ian seconded.
That's for the amendment.
These are the rates we're gonna go to.
Yeah, no.
I don't know if it's gonna be a 30% increase and not the 20.
And here's the difference in prices right here. I've written down if you want to look.
All right, now we'll vote. Mayor Butler is yes. Deputy Commissioner Trethewey.
Abstain.
Abstaining. Commissioner Martin.
Yes.
Commissioner Scambatti.
Yes.
Commissioner Gaetano.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Resolution 53, 2025. Pursuant to Constitution of the State of New York, the town of Half Moon, the city of Mechanicsville are allowed to enter mutual aid and assistance agreements, which may include provisions for furnishing and exchanging of supplies, equipment, facilities, personnel, and services. There are circumstances approved by the participants. Now therefore be resolved that the city of Mechanicsville authorizes the mayor to enter into said agreement with the town of Half Moon. Somebody like to introduce? Pat introduce.
I'll second.
Tamar seconded. Any questions? Half Moon's wonderful to work with. Kevin Towson is the one that kind of brought this ahead, and we do this with a couple other things too, and this will help us down the road if, we have problems with our vacuum truck. I think it's a good thing to do. Mayor Butler is yes. Deputy Commissioner
Abstain.
Trethewey. Are you abstaining?
Abstain.
Commissioner Martin.
Yes.
Commissioner Scambatti.
Yes.
Commissioner Gaetano.
Yes.
The Resolution 54, 2025, the resolution for authorizing change orders to contract 1A and 1B raw water pump station improvement projects. Now therefore be resolved, the city council hereby approves change order number 1A and change order 1B. And be further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately and authorizes the mayor to execute change order 1A and 1B. Who'd like to introduce? Pat introduced.
I'll second.
Ann
Can we
seconded.
have discussion now?
Now,
Okay.
The only thing I want to say is this involves our raw water project. The delivery dates for our pumps are off to the 1st of December. This contract expires in December of this year, 31st. So this is going to be an extension to March. February 27th is substantial completion, and final completion is March 27th. So this is just because after the bid was let, they went out, procured equipment, and the delivery dates stink. So that's what it is, and I just want to give people an idea what it is, why this is in there. Mayor Butler is yes. Deputy Commissioner Trethewey.
Abstain. Sorry.
Commissioner Martin.
Yes.
Commissioner Scambatti.
Yes.
Commissioner Gaetano.
Yes.
We have a resolution for our annual budget transfers here. Resolution 55, 2023. You see the dollar amounts in those 7 or 8 categories. Who'd like to introduce it?
I'll introduce.
Pat introduced. Who'd like to second?
I will.
Ann seconded. Any questions or anybody got anything to add?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mayor Butler is yes. Deputy Commissioner Trethewey.
Abstain.
Abstaining. Commissioner Martin.
Yes.
Commissioner Scambatti. Commissioner Gaetano.
Yes.
Resolution 56, 2025. Now therefore be resolved that the Mechanicsville City Council hereby authorize the purchase of the 2121 Ford Police Interceptor from the town of Stillwater for the cost of $7,500. Who'd like to introduce?
I'll second.
Tamar's first and second.
Okay.
Any questions on this? Mayor Butler is yes. Deputy Commissioner Trethewey.
Abstain.
Commissioner Martin.
Yes.
Commissioner Scambatti.
Yes.
Commissioner Gaetano.
Yes.
Resolution 57, 2025, whereas the police officer Alexander Savage submitted a letter of resignation to the chief police on July 15th. Therefore, be resolved that the City Council of the City of Mechanicsville accept the resignation letter of Officer Alexandria Safford. I'll introduce.
I'll second.
Tamar seconded. Wanted to thank Alexandria. I saw her before she left. I thanked her for her service, and I wished her safety in her future endeavors as a police officer. Anybody else? Mayor Butler is yes. Deputy Commissioner Trethewey.
Abstain.
Abstained. Commissioner Martin.
Yes.
Commissioner Scambatti.
Yes.
Commissioner Gaetano.
Yes.
One more sticky note. Resolution 58, 2025. Now therefore be resolved that any department head wishing to divest itself of equipment equal to or greater than $3,500 in value shall submit a resolution to the City Council with the following information: type of equipment, replacement cost, type of divestiture, reason for the divestiture. Majority vote of the council is required to approve the divestment prior to such divestment. Who'd like to introduce?
I'll introduce.
I'll second.
And seconded. Any questions? Mayor Butler is yes. Deputy Commissioner Trethewey.
Abstain.
Abstained. Commissioner Martin.
Yes.
Commissioner Scambatti. Yes. Commissioner Gaetano.
Yes.
What's that last page? Oh, another resolution. Resolution 59, 2025. Whereas the city is required to transfer funds from the general fund to the payroll account for the purpose of covering payroll and employer contributions, and you see the 3 pay periods there. Now therefore be resolved that these transfers are approved. Who'd like to introduce?
I'll introduce.
Tamara introduced.
I'll second.
And seconded. Any questions? Mayor Butler is yes. Deputy Commissioner Trethewey.
Abstain.
Last chance, too. Commissioner Martin.
Yes.
Commissioner Scambatti.
Yes.
Commissioner Gaetano.
Yes.
Let's see what else we got. What else we got to do, Ann? Is there any new business? Any old business? We're going to close the meeting at 8:10. Who'd like to?
I'll move.
Tamar, who seconded? Tamar, Pat seconded. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? No executive session.